tailgating outside Citizens Bank Park as the fans get set for Game 3 between the Phils and the Houston Astros. The Phillies are going for the sweep tonight here at Citizens Bank Park. And the Phillies made some news earlier today. Roberto Hernandez has been traded to the Los Angeles Dodgers. He's scheduled to start tomorrow for the Dodgers against the Milwaukee Brewers. Josh Beckett is scheduled to go on the disabled list for Los Angeles, so that's why they needed a starter for the stretch run in the National League West. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy, joined by Jamie Moyer. There will be no tailgating. I repeat, no tailgating for Sean O'Sullivan, because O'Sullivan arrived about an hour ago, and Ryan Sandberg said, hey, welcome back to the big leagues. Here's the baseball. You're going to start tonight against the Astros.
It's exciting times for Sean. He's been up here briefly earlier in the season, and his season's been a little bit of a seesaw, but we're going to see a lot of sinker balls, a lot of off-speed pitches for Sean to be able to have the consistency that he's looking for, and again, especially against a team like the Houston Astros, who has shown us so far in the first two games they're very aggressive if you're going to be around the plate.
Well, this was a day-night doubleheader against the Braves. He pitched in one of the day-night doubleheader games and went 5 innings strong, and then in his 6th inning, that's where he started to struggle, or I should say tire a little bit. These are his numbers at Lehigh Valley.
Yeah, and again, Sean, hasn't been here for a reason, and I think some of that is his durability as far as getting deep into games, but also his ability to use all 4 of his pitches on a consistent basis. And I think that's, even though he had a really good spring training, I think his AAA numbers aren't showing exactly what he would like to see this year.
All right, well, he'll be on the mound for the Phils, and the guy at the top of the order is Ben Revere, who's been one of the hottest hitters really in all of baseball since the All-Star break. We've seen him do everything to get on base.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. If you've watched Ben all year, he has gotten on base, I'm not going to say in unthinkable ways, but he's gotten on base in almost every way imaginable as you could as a hitter,
including the home run, which was his first major league home run this year. Last night, he put a pretty good charge into that one that turned out to be a triple off the glove of Jake Marisnick.
Well, the really enjoyable thing to watch with Ben, he's able to use the big part of the field, and when he gets a pitch that he can drive on occasion, he'll fool some people and hit it over somebody's head like he did last night. So I think, again, he's been the catalyst for the top of this lineup and for the Phillies to kind of get this little mini buzz going here. But again, I think for Ben to continue in these ways, and he talked about staying in the middle of the field.
All right, we'll see if that does continue tonight. We have 2 of the better, right now statistically, leadoff hitters in the game between Jose Altuve and Ben Revere, at least since the All-Star break. It'll be Colin McHugh on the mound for the Astros, and Sean O'Sullivan will make the start for the Phillies. Again, it's the final game of this 3-game series. We've seen some antics from every avenue during this series. Lineups at first pitch when we return. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. By Toyota, the annual clearance event is going on now. Toyota, let's go places. By Citizens Bank, introducing One Deposit Checking. Keeping things simple is helping you bank better. By Budweiser, a reminder from Budweiser, great times are waiting, designated driver. And by Independence Blue Cross, the most preferred health plan in the region. Independence Blue Cross, live fearless. out your start. Because that's exactly what Sean O'Sullivan is doing here tonight. They didn't find out until about noon today that he was going to be leaving Toledo, Ohio to come into Philadelphia. And if he got here on time, he would make the start instead of Roberto Hernandez, who's been traded to the Los Angeles Dodgers. Well, he got here on time, and this is the lineup he'll face for the Astros. It's brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. It'll be Altuve, Castro, and Carter, followed by Mark Krause in the cleanup spot. John Singleton at first. Matt Dominguez at third. The bottom third of Marwin Gonzalez, Jake Marisnick, and Colin McHugh. And they will face right-hander Sean O'Sullivan. Those are his numbers from AAA, 5 and 9, a 4.57 earned run average, 15 home runs allowed, and 124 innings of work. We saw him one time this year. That was against the Atlanta Braves. We also saw him in spring training. And he's ready to go. And Altuve greets him with a foul ball down the left field line, out of play. And here's the Budweiser scouting report, Jamie, on Sean O'Sullivan.
He's a 4-pitch pitcher, making his 39th career major league start. He's got a fastball 90-93, curveball 70-73, a slider 77-80, and a changeup 76-79 miles an hour. Really relies on that good sinker down and in. That one got away right there.
What about buzzing the tower? Does he rely on that at all?
Well, Altuve was with his him being so short, he was just able to duck right underneath that.
1 ball and 1 strike to Altuve. And he lines it out toward right center field. On the run is Bird and Revere makes a diving grab. 1 away here in the first. We had a great look at the 2 outfielders converging, and I thought for a moment that they were going to collide. I didn't think that Revere was going to be able to get to this one.
That ball kept drifting away from Ben, and he stayed with that, and either one of them would have been able to catch it. So again, good to see good communication and staying away from a potential collision.
Well, he got an excellent jump to be able to track that ball down. So 1 away. Here's Jason Castro, 1 for 6 in the opener of this series. He did not play last night. Takes a sinker low, 1-0. Castro overall 230, 11 home runs, 43 runs batted in. He was an all-star last year. Fouls it back. It's 1-1. One thing that does stand out and has stood out about this Astros team is that they are aggressive.
And hence that's why I think they have so many strikeouts. But they have the ability also to drive the ball out of the ballpark.
Well, they're closing in on 1,000 strikeouts for the season. It's 2 balls and 1 strike. So far in the series, the Phillies pitchers have struck them out 24 times. Now the Astros hitting 188 in the first 2 games. Well, Sullivan's going to need that pitch. I guess it was a little low.
I was just going to say the same thing, Tom. It looked like a pretty good pitch, and he did not get the call right there.
Scott Barry's the home plate umpire. That one's fouled at the plate, and it's 3-2. Chris Carter's on deck.
And I have to believe, regardless of where Sean O'Sullivan came from today, as you mentioned, he came from Toledo. If you put him on a bike and he could have gotten here, he would have been ready to pitch at game time. It's exciting times when you get called up from the minor leagues to get the opportunity to start a game.
Even though he has been a major leaguer before, he's fought hard to try to get back here. I thought he did well his last outing against the Braves. I did think he tired a little bit as that outing went on, and part of it could have been adrenaline. I mean, he may face the same issue tonight where he's all amped up because he's been moving all day. 3-2 pitch. Fouled away. It remains 3-2.
Well, it's these types of at bats that can really take it out of you. Foul ball, deep counts can really kind of wear you down. And the hitters realize that, and they know that.
Ruiz is having him shake off the first couple of fastball signs. And that's just a bit low. Yeah, at least for this batter, He's going to be fighting the home plate umpire, Scott Barry, tonight. All right, Jamie, we've been throwing around these keys all day. It is time for our Nissan keys to today's ballgame.
Yeah, my first Nissan key is to have Colin McHugh throw the ball on the plate. And the reason I say that, I think he's given up a fair amount of home runs and a fair amount of extra base hits. And he does strike out a lot of people. So the Phillies need to keep him on the plate. And my second key is, again, they have a chance to sweep a series here. So let's go sweep this series.
Sweep a series and just keep getting better. Now, obviously, the road ahead of them is very difficult, but they'd like to just play better baseball for the last couple of months of the season. No balls, 1 strike to Chris Carter, who has 9 home runs since the 1st of July, 22 overall. That one's hit well, deep to left field, and he's got 10 home runs since the 1st of July. 2-0 Astros here in the top of the first. That is the first home run hit by Houston in this series.
Right here you see a 0-1 curveball, pretty much center cut, and Carter just stayed right with it and really didn't look like he was overly aggressive with it, but it kind of hung in the middle of the plate, and he drove it out of the ballpark for a 2-run home run and a 2-run lead.
So the Phillies trail it now here at the top of the first. Mark Krause will be the batter. Krause is playing right field tonight. Astros have not homered in this series, or hadn't homered before this ball game. And they also only had 1 extra base hit. Matt Dominguez's double in last night's game. No balls and 2 strikes. Ryan Sandberg said today that if O'Sullivan had not arrived, and they were hoping that he would get here before 6, which he did, to Philadelphia, that Cesar Jimenez would probably have been the starter tonight. They would have brought O'Sullivan in at some point. One ball, 2 strikes. Krause fights it off and fouls it off to the left. Two balls, 2 strikes. It's almost as if he has to slow things down a little bit. He's moving a mile a minute out there. Threw a changeup.
They're getting some pretty good swings off of him right now. Doesn't matter what he's thrown so far. They've been on pretty much everything. Need him to get ahead of a couple hitters and throw some balls inside. Even first pitch, some balls in off the plate maybe.
That one's popped foul. It'll go out of play. So an 8-pitch at bat to Jason Castro, and now a lengthy at bat here to Mark Krause with the count 2 balls and 2 strikes. This will be the 8th pitch of this at bat. Yeah, just from his body language in the Castro at bat, and even this one here, he looks like he thinks those pitches are strikes. But Barry's been consistent to not call them strikes. That one's hit well, deep to right field. Bird going back toward the board. It is gone. Back-to-back home runs for Carter and Krause, and it's 3-0 Houston. Krause's 6th home run of the season in his 41st start.
has a fastball. It's kind of ran away from Krause right there, but stayed on the plate. Again, he hasn't really moved anybody and hasn't really thrown any pitches inside for strikes.
Well, now Jonathan Singleton will be the hitter, and he throws a strike there. It's 0-1. Well, the Astros, who lost the first 2 games of this series, have jumped out to a 3-0 lead. The Phillies jumped out to a 5-0 lead in last night's ball game in the first. 0-2 to Singleton. Dirt, 1-2. Singleton is 1 for 9 in this series. He does have a couple RBIs, and he's 0 for his last 6 overall. Called strike 3 on the inside part of the plate. 2 outs. Fastball at 92 miles an hour. Well, let's take a look at tonight's current weather conditions, brought to you by Oliver Heating and Cooling. Visit oliverheatcool.com. 81 degrees, mostly sunny. A beautiful day here in the Delaware Valley. A little cooler than normal at this time of the year, but this summer has been cooler than normal. Here's Matt Dominguez. Dominguez takes just a bit outside. It's 1-0. On the outside corner. That's a good pitch right there. Knocks the mask off Ruiz. You cringe every time that happens, just because of the issues he's had earlier, or he had earlier this season, where he's on the disabled list with a concussion. Dominguez a little out front of that one. O'Sullivan is not going to strike you out that often, but he did get the strikeout here in the first. 10% of his outs in the minor leagues came on the strikeout. He's about to throw the 32nd pitch of the inning. It's hit sharply to the right side, just past Utley. And a 2-out single for Dominguez, and that ends at 0 for 7 stretch for him. And it'll bring Marwin Gonzalez to the plate. McClure is going to run out to the mound and have a chit chat with Sean O'Sullivan. I think he's asking about those pitches to Ruiz. You know, Jamie, this is a tough spot. It's a spot that anybody would welcome, the chance to play in the big leagues. But you know, I'm sure the whirlwind of getting on a plane and heading over here and arriving late, you know, there is an adrenaline rush that's probably going on a little bit here, and his ball hasn't really moved all that much in this inning.
Yeah, there is. You're right, Tom. There is, in the fact that, yeah, you are getting another opportunity, but when you get here, you got to make the best of that opportunity that you're giving. Or you're given, and you know, right now he needs to right the ship right here, and this game is far from being over. You know, the Astros have scored here 3 in the first. The Phillies have 27 outs. That's the only plus, with him giving up 3 runs here in the first inning.
And the success the Phillies have had recently here at Citizens Bank Park, including the 2 games against the Astros, they're averaging over 6 runs per game during that stretch. Ryan Sandberg knows it's important to get this last out, get the offense a chance to get out there. 1 ball, no strikes to Gonzalez. And he takes one at the knees. Gonzalez 1 for 5 in this series. Toyota Major League Scoreboard. That game went final in 13 thanks to Bryce Harper. His home run won it for the Nationals against Carlos Torres. So the Mets are on the train heading here to Philadelphia to begin the series. Out toward right field. Bird going back toward the track. He's got room, makes the catch, and that'll do it for the first inning. But the Astros put a 3 spot on the board. Back-to-back home runs. 2-run shot by Chris Carter. A solo shot by Mark Krause. We'll go to the bottom of the first. It's the Astros 3, Phillies coming up. See what the Phils have in store for the Astros right-hander Colin McHugh. Let's take a look at their lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Leading it off at center field, Ben Revere. Jimmy Rollins will bat second. Chase Elliott's third, followed by Ryan Howard and Marlon Byrd. Grady Sizemore's in left field. He'll bat sixth. In the bottom third of Ruiz, Ashe, and O'Sullivan. And they'll face 27-year-old right-hander Colin McHugh. 4-9 this year. Very good ERA at 3.32. He is a strikeout guy.
Good ERA and good opponents. Average against is 203. In 95 innings, he's got 107 strikeouts. He's only given up 70 hits. So he's going to be around the plate, I got to believe. Again, and we got another 4-pitch pitcher here tonight. Fastball, slider, curveball, and a changeup. Fastball's 91. Curveball 73, sliders around 85, and changeups at 84. But his out pitch is his slider.
It's all part of our Budweiser scouting report. Ben Revere will lead things off for the Phils. Great series for Revere. In fact, the top 4 hitters in the Phils lineup have had sound series, led by Ben. He takes a strike. It's 0-1. 15 hits combined for the first 4 hitters in this order for the Phils. And Revere slices it at Dominguez, who makes the catch. So 1 away here in the first. And that'll bring Jimmy Rollins to the plate. Rollins 2 for 12. He enters tonight's ball game with 799 career extra base hits. Overall hitting .241 with 15 home runs and 49 runs batted in. With the overshift on, McHugh delivers a strike. It's 0-1. 3-man overshift. Boy, that was a slow curve. That's the kind of curve that'll put you to sleep. 73 miles an hour.
He's flipping it in there.
Another one in the dirt. It's 1-2. McHugh does have some interesting splits. On the road, we showed you his earned run average 1.96. That's at 7 starts. The opposition's hitting only .203 against him on the road. At home, they're hitting only .204 against him. But his earned run average is much higher. Now, the only thing you can think of is he gives up a lot more extra base hits at home than he does on the road. 21 extra base hits at home and only 4 on the road. Don't know if it's the ballpark or not. It could be. But that's a huge difference in extra base hits.
It is. It seems odd that it's that skewed that way.
The 2-2 pitch to Rollins. Curveball spun out toward the right side. Marwin Gonzalez, the shortstop, throws him out. 2 outs. Chase Utley will come up. It's time to take a look at our Mazda leaders. We mentioned this last night that Utley is the first second baseman in the National League since Jeff Kent to reach 11 home runs, or to 10 home runs in 11 consecutive seasons. Now, Joe Gordon and Bobby Doerr missed seasons for military service, so their numbers are 12 and 11, but they did miss seasons because of military service. Lou Whitaker was a very good second baseman, as everybody knows. That combination of Whitaker and Trammell for the Tigers was one of the best combos you'll ever see. Well, he had 10 home runs or more for 11 straight years. A 1 pitch. Chopper right side. So he's used his curveball in this inning to get a couple outs. 2 ground outs and a line out. Phillies go down quietly. It's a 1-2-3 bottom of the first. We'll go to the second. Astros up 3-0. Is returning this weekend for Alumni Weekend here at Citizens Bank Park. It's brought to you by Toyota. It also includes Charlie Manuel's induction into the Wall of Fame on Saturday evening. Tickets can be purchased right now for all 4 games against the New York Mets by going to Phillies.com. We go to the top of the second inning. Jake Marisnick will lead it off for the Astros, and he chops the second pitch over to third. Tough play for Ashe. Throws low, dug out by Ryan Howard. That's a fine play all the way around because Marisnick runs well. Now there's one away.
Well, here you see Sean O'Sullivan gets Marisnick to top a slider, and Cody Ashe makes a nice play on that ball right there and throws out Marisnick.
All right, so Jamie, you thought that Benny Looper was going to take that highlight and run with it. I'm sorry, I should have told you that you were going to run that highlights. Benny, were you prepared to break that?
You can replay it if you want, Benny.
Jamie's the expert.
Benny Looper, Phillies assistant GM for player personnel, joins us up here in the booth. 3-0 Astros with 1 out in the top of the second. And McHugh fouls that away. And it's no balls and 2 strikes. Well, Benny, we appreciate you coming on. We were joking before we came on that first inning didn't go particularly well for the Phils. But, you know, Sean O'Sullivan getting a chance to come up here to the big leagues and, you know, make a start for the Phils. That one's back toward the middle. Rollins will take care of him. And there are 2 outs. How is he pitching down in the minor leagues, Benny?
He's been throwing fine. You know, he flew in here from Toledo today, so he's had a hard travel day. But, you know, as Jamie will attest to, when you get a chance, you got to show up and show what you got.
I hear you.
Those opportunities don't come around too often, but when you do, you got to grasp that ring and run with it.
Well, speaking of opportunities, last night in the system, a couple of good outings. Jesse Biddle in Clearwater, 5 no-hit innings, and Aaron Nola in Reading pitched very well in his Reading debut yesterday.
Yeah, I saw the films on both of them. Both guys. I haven't seen Nola pitch since he was in college. Saw him this spring, and he's a guy that can really pitch. And he needed to go up to that level. He needs to face better competition, and that's what he's getting in Double-A. And really excited about Jesse having a good outing. That was big for him and big for us, but more so for Jesse. That'll help his confidence a lot.
Well, I know he's gone through an awful lot this year as that one's pulled towards shortstop. Rollins will try to take care of Altuve and does by a hair. We'll talk more about Jesse and Aaron and the rest of the Phil system with Benny Looper when we come back with the bottom of the second here at Citizens Bank Park. For the second for Sean O'Sullivan. And now as we go to the bottom of the second, it'll be Ryan Howard, Marlon Byrd, and Benny Looper. Nice enough to spend a little additional time with us because that half inning went pretty quick. If you were here in the first inning, Benny, we could have talked about everything going on in the farm system.
That's how we like it when we're out in the field. Short and sweet.
We were talking about Nola and Biddle. You were saying how good it was for Jesse to get out there again last night and throw as well as he did for Clearwater.
Yeah, he'd taken a few weeks off to kind of back away from things. I don't think people understand the pressures. Jesse's still young. There's a lot of pressure on these guys. Jamie can answer it better than I can, but unless you've been there, you don't know the pressures involved. And he got a little bit overwhelmed with everything that was happening. And I think backing away from it and kind of restarting again, it really helped him in it. And with the outing he had last night, that really should help his confidence, and hopefully the arrow will be pointing up from here.
What are the plans for him after this, Benny? Is it to keep him down there and let him keep throwing down there for a little bit?
Well, I'll talk to Joe about that and see what he has in mind, but it's probably another outing down there.
Okay.
I would guess. He'd like to get back up here in Double-A where he's been, which, hopefully before the season's over we can see that.
Ryan Howard will lead it off against Colin McHugh, and he takes upstairs, 1 ball and no strikes.
Well, it's really important, as you well know, Benny. You got to have the right mental state. you got to be there mentally, and you can't fear what's going on around you. You can't be afraid of failure, and you have to really rely on your instincts and your abilities, as whether it be here at this level, at the major league level, or at the minor league level where you're trying to develop.
No question about it. Confidence is such a key to this game. I used to talk to Edgar and Olerud and those guys that were over in Seattle with you, and they talked. I asked them the question one time: when you're hot, the ball's big, and then what happens? Does the ball get smaller on you? And every one of them answered the question I presented to them with something to go back to their confidence, how to build their confidence back up. It wasn't so much seeing it, but it was their mental state of mind, the confidence they had.
And that's really important. I don't know that people realize how difficult that is, and you see it. We watch these games every night, and we see it here. And now think about it at the minor league level, where you haven't had that reinforcement, you haven't had the repetition, and you create your own pressure on yourself, or you put that pressure on yourself.
No question. It's easy to say. It's easy for me to sit here and say that, but it's difficult to do when things aren't going good. When you've had an 0 for 20, or when you've given up 9 runs, it's easy to say, well, I'm going to get my confidence. My confidence is still there. It's easy to say, but hard to do.
It is.
Well, last night, speaking of confidence, David Buchanan showed an awful lot of confidence. How nice was that to see him perform as well as he did, Benny?
Oh, he's such a great kid, and we need that from David, and we're happy for him. Edgar used to tell me he would have to trick himself every once in a while. And sometimes I think every player, of all the players I've talked to, each person figures out a way for themselves how to get that confidence back or to maintain it.
Swing and a miss. Howard has struck out. Well, Jamie, you and I were talking about that last night. I was asking you about when you are in a little bit of a funk pitching-wise, is there a pitch that gets you back, that sort of tricks you back? And you were saying a changeup.
Yeah, a changeup for me, especially if the ball was up in the zone. I needed something that I needed to stay with a little longer. And that pitch for me was my changeup. And then the other part of it for me, my eyes, I felt like when I was struggling with the ball up, my eyes would creep up. And I would tell my catcher, I want to target as low as you can give. And that's what I really learned. It pulled my eyes back down, and I never realized that till in the latter part of my career.
Now, Betty, you were a catcher. Were there certain tricks that you would put in as Bird lines that one to left field that you would go over with pitchers to try to get them back into?
Yeah, the old way of doing it, if a guy kept throwing high, you'd go out and tell him to shorten the stride a little bit. If they were throwing to one side of the plate or the other, we used to tell them to move on the pitching rubber, which they don't do anymore. George Kissel told me a long time, and this applied more to infielders, if you're throwing high, keep your chin down. It's kind of the same thing you're talking about, which might have helped you to take just that one key point.
Right.
And I think as you're pitching or as you're hitting or as in your field, you can't have a lot of things running through your mind. If you can have one thing you can go to, hey, keep my chin down on this next pitch. And like for you, just to throw the changeup, got you back where your eyes needed to be.
Brady Sizemore's the batter. No balls and 1 strike to Sizemore. Marlon Bird's over at first. 3-0 Astros here at the bottom of the second. Benny Looper, Phillies assistant GM, player personnel, joining us up here in the booth. And Sizemore goes after a breaking pitch. It's 0-2.
Benny, in your opinion, what level from rookie ball or the first level in pro baseball to the major league level, what is the biggest jump in your opinion? Is it between rookie ball and A ball, or short season A ball and low A ball and high A ball, double A or triple A?
Well, I think the biggest one's to this level, to the big leagues, because it is different. But I think in the minor leagues, it's at going to the double A level. My experience when I played and from watching kids, I think that's a big jump.
Well, speaking of double A, we touched on Aaron Nola and the fact he made his debut last night. You said you watched the video on him. From what everybody said, his secondary pitches were very good in last night's outing.
Yes, and he showed that this spring as an amateur. Aaron's got, he throws a fastball. Obviously, he's got a good changeup, and the sliders or curveball is more of a slurvy, what we call a slurve pitch. kind of in between. But he shows an average or better than average, both of those pitches at times. Not consistent, but it's there.
And his makeup, from what I understand, his makeup is really good.
He's got a great composure on the mound. He's a competitor, and that's what we like to see in our pitching.
Carlos Ruiz pops the first pitch up, foul territory. Singleton over toward the railing, and it's out of play. No balls and 1 strike. Jonathan Singleton gave it a look, but it kept on slicing. Benny, we just saw Grady Sizemore have that base hit. You've been around the game for a long time. You know how important it is for teams to find some of these free agents in the middle of the year. The year hasn't gone the way the Phillies had hoped, but he's been a nice pickup for the Phillies.
Yes, he has. I saw Grady work out up in Seattle when Pat was in Seattle. He's the GM. We worked him out as an amateur and liked him since then, and he has been a good addition for us.
There's a line drive to left field. Carter's not going to get it. They'll take it on 1 hop. Bird's going to coast home, and the Phillies are on the board. It's a 3-1 ball game. And Carlos 0 for 6 in the series before that hit. Gives the Phils their first run, and it's their 3rd consecutive hit. Well, that was nice to see. Fastball that basically just ran back toward the inner half of the plate.
Yeah, and Carlos, particularly hasn't hit the ball that well this series. It's got to be a big hit for Carlos, and it's really nice to see the Phillies get on the board here in the 2nd inning and start to peck away at that 3-run lead that the Astros created in the 1st inning.
All right, so Cody Ashe's the batter. It's a 3-man overshift on against Ashe with runners on 1st and 2nd. Ashe overall hitting .252 with 7 home runs. Big curveball, 0-1. Benny, I'm going to put you on the spot. Have you ever seen a team shift as much as the Astros have shifted in this series? I mean, between their outfielders and their infielders?
They move them around all right. Probably not.
We were talking about that last night. It just seems like every batter they're moving in some way, shape, or form. Broke his back. A 1-hopper out towards short. Gonzalez will step on 2nd, now throw to 3rd. They've got Grady in a rundown, and the tag is applied. There's not much he could have done. Benny, we appreciate it. Thanks for coming on.
Enjoyed it, Tom.
Yep. Benny
Jamie.
Looper, Phillies assistant GM, player personnel, joining us up here in the booth. Phillies have gotten on the board. We'll see if they can get some more as we move forward. We'll go to the top of the 3rd inning. It's a 3-1 ball game in favor of the Astros. Go to the fan section for all the information. Please submit your answer on the subject line. All right, Jamie, the question is, what pitcher holds the single season Astro record for strikeouts with 313? Answer will be revealed in just a little bit. Jamie has written down his answer. If we were on Jeopardy, we would hear the bing. I have to say that the correct answer used to be was prevalent on this telecast for a number of years. He was talked about often. In fact, I think Sarge would have gotten this answer like that, snap of the fingers.
Sarge faced this guy, I'm sure.
Yeah, and he's still afraid of him, too.
Sarge, afraid of anybody? Come on.
Jason Castro will lead it off. Castro walked and scored his first time up. Takes a strike. It's 0-1. All right, so a 7-pitch second inning for Sean O'Sullivan. And we'll see if he's figured something out here. One ball, one strike. She charges. It'll be a tough play. Castro is safe at first. That'll be an infield hit. So the Phillies shifted there, and a little tapper, sort of the no man's land. That'll bring Chris Carter to the plate. Murph, you got an update on Cliff Lee, huh?
We do indeed, Tom. It came down late last night after the game that Cliff Lee had been evaluated once again, his elbow once again, by Dr. Alchek, this time up in New York. And it was re-diagnosed that he has that grade 2 strain in that flexor pronator tendon, and basically what's going to happen now is rest. He has to just shut it down and do no activity for the next couple of months, so his season is indeed over. But the good news is that surgery is not part of the treatment at this point. They think rest, and he had an injection of platelet-rich plasma that was injected back here in Philadelphia. A combination of those two things they hope will be enough that he can start throwing again in October or November, begin a throwing program, and then hopefully be ready by spring training to be 100%. So certainly good news. You never want to have surgery, especially for a pitcher in that area. He's not going to have that as of yet, guys.
All right, Murph, we appreciate that. Revere on the run out toward the wall, and Chris Carter has gone dead center for a 2-run home run, his second 2-run home run of the night. I think that swing right there, even more so than his first home run, shows you how strong that guy is. I mean, he pulverized this ball.
Yeah, that ball jumped off of his bat. And also tonight, I think if there's any ball in the air with a little bit of oomph behind it, he's got a good chance of leaving the ballpark. Especially to center field and right field, the way the wind's blowing right now.
Well, that's 24 home runs and 57 runs batted in. It's his 5th 2-home run game. I would think there's some people around the Delaware Valley who are looking at this guy saying, I never heard of him. It's partly because he was in Oakland and then Houston, but he does have big pop. He'll strike out a lot, but he obviously has power, and he just hit his first 2 home runs against the Phils. Krause whacks it foul. And it's 2 balls and 1 strike. All right, Jamie, I know the home runs kind of taking the air out of this game a little bit, but when it comes to Cliff Lee, that is great news that he won't need surgery.
I think it's fantastic news, and I think the Phillies are doing the right thing by giving him some time off and just let things settle, let things heal. I thought it was great that he went to see Dr. Alchek. I had the same injury back in 1997. I spent the offseason just rehabbing, came back in 1998, and actually felt pretty darn good and didn't have a problem with it until I completely tore my ulnar collateral and my flexor pronator in 2010 here when I was with the Phillies. So I pitched 13 years after the initial injury.
So that I remember you talking about that injury or a previous injury. That was the injury you were talking about?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes. And it will take some time with rest. I mean, that's definitely what he's going to need to let things heal. And once you get to that point where they believe he's healed, and they know it's probably 4, 6, 8 weeks, whatever that time span is, and then from there, and now it's you start to do some rehab and you start to strengthen the areas around it, but you also strengthen the shoulder along with it. I know when I eventually did my ulnar collateral, they talked about a lot of that ulnar collateral injury comes from weakness. They believe it comes from a weakness in your shoulder, and the stress then goes down to your elbow. And you start looking at your elbow and thinking about your elbow. There's not a whole lot around there to protect your elbow. There's not a lot of muscles, and there's not a lot of blood flow in that particular area in your elbow. And that's why the healing process takes so long, because there's not a lot of blood in there, or not a lot of blood that travels through that area.
2 balls and no strikes to Singleton, who struck out looking his first time up.
And that's why he got the PRP injection today, because they're hoping that will help the healing process.
Chopper right side. They might be able to turn 2 here. There's 1, and that's all they'll get. Singleton does run pretty well for a big guy, and the ball wasn't in all that hard. 4-5 on the put out at second. The fielder's choice. And Matt Dominguez is coming up. Well, I think you said it even the other day. The fact that Cliff is going to be out for the year means that he can take the time, allow it to heal properly, and then have the off season to begin a throwing program maybe after the first of the year or something along those lines.
Well, I think you treat the patient. You don't treat the symptoms, you treat the patient. And I think as long as Cliff communicates with the training staff and the medical, and the doctors, they'll be able to figure out when that appropriate time is. But again, you also have to do some rehab with that to regain the strength. And Cliff is in great shape. He takes great care of himself. I don't see any reason why he can't come back and be healthy. But again, Mother Nature will allow that to happen.
Double play started by Rollins, 6-3, 2-run score. Chris Carter's hit 2 tonight. Very different, both of them. Both showed his power, though. The second one more so than the first one. He crushed this ball to straightaway center field more than 400 feet to give the Astros a 5-1 lead. Brought to you by Thomas Jefferson University Hospitals. Call 1-800-JEF-NOW for an appointment. By W.B. Mason. You can't go wrong when you buy right. And by Dodge. Visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today. Cloudy night, as we mentioned. Comfortable, though. A little bit of a breeze coming in. Breeze, no breeze. Chris Carter, he didn't really need much at all. He just needed his strength to get 2 balls out of the yard. 3 home runs hit by the Astros. Sean O'Sullivan will lead it off for the Phillies. And McHugh delivers a strike. It's 0-1. O'Sullivan has 2 hits and 12 career at bats in the big leagues. a miss, 1-2. Colin McHugh is a former 18th round pick of the New York Mets back in 2008. The Mets traded him to the Rockies in the Eric Young deal in 2013, and then he was picked up off waivers by the Astros. He picks up a strikeout. That's his second of the night. Ben Revere's coming up. It's time now for our Geico quote of the day. And it's Ben on his improved hitting. It's just getting in rhythm. One day I'll be good, and then the next day I would fall back. Now my main goal is staying up the middle. If I can keep that, it's going to help me a lot. It's just maintaining my focus and going right back at the pitches. That's my main focus. That's what you were talking about using the big part of the field.
And he's done it several times. He's hit the ball right at the pitcher. So it's quite evident what he's doing. And being able, as he says, being able to duplicate that on a daily basis.
He lined out softly to third his first time up. I think you see the difference in Scott Barry's strike zone with a pitcher that is around the plate and a pitcher that's not around the plate. McHugh has thrown 6 balls, 25 strikes, and he's getting a lot of the corners. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
I'm not sure what the Rockies didn't see with this kid. I think he's got a great arm and he's got great stuff.
Toward left, Carter makes the catch. But the other thing is, you talk about having a great arm. He has really good command of that curveball too, or the breaking ball. Would you say they were hitting? Was it 105 against his breaking pitch?
In his last game, he relied heavily to his slider 30% of the time. Opposing hitters hit 111 versus his slider.
Here's Rollins. He grounded out to the right side to the shortstop. Gonzalez, his only time up.
Tell you what, Tom, I really enjoyed that second inning talking to Benny Looper.
You guys go back a long way.
Yeah, we do, but he's just a great baseball man. He's a good thinker. He understands the game. He understands players, and he doesn't jump to any conclusions. He's always searching for better ways to do things, looking for better ways to do things. But he really sees what's happening on the field, and he really, tries to get in the head of players who have had success and try to learn from that and be able to pass that along. And it's really, I've always enjoyed the conversations I've had with Benny Looper.
Benny was a catcher, as we mentioned, made it up to AAA. He didn't hit a whole lot, but he's turned into, as Jamie said, a very good baseball man after his career came to a close. He was with the Mariners for more than 20 years before he came over to the Phillies. Rollins takes outside, 2-2. The Lucky McDonald's Phillies home run jackpot contestant is Barb LaPerriere of Levittown, PA. Phillies hit a home run in today's ball game, and Barb will win $100. I think it's Barb LaPierre. I think that's what I'm going to go with from now on. No home run there. Maybe one later on where we can practice Barb's name again. We'll be back for the 4th after this. Selection of Green Mountain Coffee K-Cup packs keep you running and provides fan base satisfaction. Order by 11:30 and get free same-day delivery. Who but W.B. Mason. Well, back here at Citizens Bank Park, the Phillies are saluting the military as we get set for the top of the 4th inning. That young lady right there is a brigadier general. She was one of 3 that were honored. Staff Sergeant Sean Lee was one. Staff Sergeant Brian Yoder was the other. It's nice that the Phillies are able to do that. We talk about it all the time out in San Diego. It's incredible to watch the Sundays when members of the Marines come into the ballpark and sit in the upper deck. Down in D.C., they do the waving of the hat in the 4th inning, I think it is, and all of the members of the military who are on hand stand and are saluted. Oh, those were Purple Heart recipients that were down on the field today. No balls, 1 strike to Marwin Gonzalez as we begin the top of the 4th. A bunt to the right side. That's a beauty. Utley has nobody to cover, and it'll be a bunt hit. That was going to be tough to counter no matter how you looked at it. Because Howard bit, and after he bit, nobody was there to cover first.
I'll tell you what, Gonzalez did a great job in decoying that, and really he beat O'Sullivan to the bag, and Ryan made an attempt initially to go after the ball and got to no man's land, and Chase kept coming, but he had nobody to dish that ball off to. So that was a little bit of a botched play there.
And that's the way that play is designed. You're trying to get guys to come out of position to open up a path.
But give Gonzalez a lot of credit. That was a perfect bunt.
Here's Marisnick. He grounded out to third his first time up on an outstanding play by Cody Ashe. Pitches up high, 1 ball and no strikes. Chopper left side. Marisnick runs well. They'll try to get 2. There's 1 and not in time. Excellent feed by Chase Utley over to first. Rollins did everything he could too.
Yeah, Jimmy gets to this ball good and really gets rid of it quickly, and so does Chase. But Marisnick has really good speed getting down there, and Gonzalez was right on top of Chase as he was getting rid of that ball. That was a well executed play offensively and defensively as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, the runner going to second still had a lot of room to reach that second base bag, so what he did was fine. Now if he had tumbled or rolled, I should say, into Chase, it would have been a little different play. And then there was a chance they would have ruled a double play. Connell McHugh grounded out to short his first time up. He's 0 for 1. He bunts toward first. Ruiz waited a moment, and he had to pick it up because even though McHugh wasn't really running up the line, he had to make sure he got at least that out. Well, tomorrow night is the beginning of Alumni Weekend, and full coverage on Comcast Sportsnet, the Comcast Network, and NBC 10 all weekend long. Alumni Day will be Sunday. Mike will be up here in the booth with Jamie and I, Mike Schmidt that is. Tomorrow Roy Halladay will be on hand as the Phillies give out the Roy Halladay bobble figurine. Saturday, of course, the induction of Charlie Manuel into the Phillies Wall of Fame. It's going to be a great weekend here in Philadelphia. Altuve's 0 for 2. He's flied to center and was robbed on a fine play by Revere. He grounded out to short. And he lifts that one to left center field. Revere should get there and does. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 man left in scoring position. We'll go to the bottom of the 4th inning. Chase Utley is due to lead things off when we return. Visit your local Delaware Valley Honda dealer. ShopHonda.com. By Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. By Budweiser. Here's to Budweiser. Here's to baseball. And by Chevrolet. Visit your local dealer at ChevyDealer.com. Jamie, you have a hat for a particular outfit that you want to get? They're all kinds. All kinds of colors. All kinds of styles. Majestic Clubhouse store.
I need to get on there and get me a golf hat.
You know, I think I need a new golf hat, too.
I got plenty of the baseball hats, right?
Yeah, you want a bona fide golf hat.
Yeah.
I'm not fooling around here. We're not just going to get a hat that the players wear. You want one that you give you a little freedom out on the course.
Exactly.
Go to the bottom of the 4th. Chase Utley will start it off. Utley grounded out his first time up.
At least some part of my game's got to look good.
Utley 3 for 9 in the series. Phillies have won 5 of 6 here at Citizens Bank Park. It's important to note considering where they were and where they still are with their win-loss record. 24-33 here at the ballpark. During that time, Ryan Sandberg has watched his team pick up 22 extra base hits and averaged over 6 runs per game. Outside, 1 ball and 1 strike.
Watching Colin McHugh thus far, I'm really struggling with trying to figure out how he's 4-9. Unless they have not played good defense behind him and not scored any runs for him, because this guy is throwing the ball really well tonight. Has really good command of his curveball and his slider.
Yeah, we mentioned his home road splits, how there's so many more extra base hits at home compared to the road. But the opposition is still hitting basically the same average wise. Two balls and 1 strike to Utley. And it's 3-1. Howard's on deck.
Kind of reminds me of the mechanics of Aaron Seeley. Played with Aaron actually on 2 different teams, but I'm sitting here watching him like he looks familiar. I don't know that. I don't recall that Aaron. Maybe Aaron did at one point go over his head. I think in the latter part of his career he didn't. But I played with Aaron when he was a young pitcher in Boston.
That one's hit well out to right center field. Playable for Marisnick or Krause, and it's Marisnick who makes the catch. One away. Ryan Howard's coming up. Well, this is the final game of this interleague series, but there's more interleague baseball to be played here in Philadelphia. Monday, August 18th, the Phillies will entertain the Seattle Mariners. It's the first of a 3-game series. It wraps up on Wednesday the 20th. The Citizens Bank Business Person Special and a Modell Sporting Goods Kids Run the Bases. Tickets can be purchased by going to Phillies.com. Ryan Howard struck out his first time up.
I remember coming into Philly as a Mariner, into Veterans Stadium.
Yeah,
actually, if I'm not mistaken, we had a 4-game set in Philadelphia, and we may have swept the Phillies, and then from here went to New York.
I do believe you. I think you did sweep the Phillies. Pinello was still your manager.
Yes,
right?
he was.
Yeah. Remember what year that was? 02? 03 maybe.
I don't recall.
Last time the Phillies played the Angels out in Anaheim was 03. I think 03 though the Phillies went out to Seattle also. Maybe it was 04. It was 03. That one's pulled out toward the right side. Gonzalez in the shift played perfectly. 6-3 on the putout, 2 outs. All right, so it was a 3-game series, Jamie, not a 4-game series. Maybe you won the first game in New York.
You know what? I think we may have gone to New York and had a 4-game series.
Oh, okay. And the Mariners did sweep the Phillies back in 2003. You went 7 innings, 4 hits, 8 strikeouts. Didn't walk anybody. Here's Marlon Byrd. Marlon singled and scored his first time up. Now, did you bring that up because you wanted us to talk about it?
No, actually I didn't. I was really thinking about the experience of being in Philadelphia, honestly.
One ball, no strikes. I remember it was right around that same time, though, that the Phillies went out to Safeco for the first time. They had not played out there, and that was a pretty neat experience. They've since played there one other time.
Yeah, the second time I watched that one from the stands. Charlie was still managing.
Right.
Actually, I sat right by the dugout, by the visitors' dugout.
Did you taunt anybody or anything?
Taunt or talk?
Well, I know you talked, but I was wondering if you taunted anybody.
Nah, I didn't really taunt anybody. No, my buddies in that dugout, Phillies dugout.
You didn't get on Doobie or anything like that?
No.
You didn't get on. Well, Mick was out in the bullpen. You couldn't get on him. 2-1 pitch to Byrd. Fouled off to the right.
I think I got a nod from Charlie that night. That made my night.
Did you see him say to the guy next to him, "Hey, I think I recognize that guy"? It's going to be great to see Charlie this weekend. I have not seen him since last year.
I haven't seen him since I left the Phillies. I'm really looking forward to seeing him.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Marlon Byrd. 3-man overshift for Byrd. Little high, 3-2.
And I know the first question he's going to ask me. He's going to ask me how my little guy's doing, my little pitcher, McCabe. He's going to say, "That boy, he throws harder than you do."
Is that what he used to say to you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, he hits the golf ball better than I do now, too.
Exactly.
3-2 pitch to Byrd. Swing and a miss. Phillies go down in order here in the 4th inning. 4th strikeout for Colin McHugh. He's retired 7 in a row. We'll go to the 5th inning here in Philadelphia with the Astros on top. non-game day corporate or social event. Or also, you can host your next event during a ball game. Any time of year, host your next special event in one of our upscale climate-controlled spaces like the Diamond Club, the Hall of Fame Club, or the Executive Dining Room. The Fanatic appearances are included, ballpark tours. Call 215-218-5100 for more information. First pitch to Jason Castro is fouled away, and it's 0-1. Castro has scored 2 runs. Those are folks from the Susquehanna International Group here in Philadelphia. There's about 700 folks that are out near Harry the K's. Met a couple of the folks before the ball game tonight. And they are enjoying not only a night at the ballpark, but also enjoying a night with their coworkers. Got some hats, got some T-shirts. They got everything out there. That one is spun out toward left. It'll drop in front of Grady Sizemore. And a base hit to start the 5th inning.
I think our Canadian friends enjoying another night at the ballpark. Haven't seen him anywhere.
Have not seen Matt. I've heard from him just through texting. So he is awake. I have not seen him, though, here at the ballpark. The fridge is still filled in the office, so he hasn't been in there. Carter has 2 home runs, both 2-run shots. And it's 0-1 to him. Got to keep this young man in the ballpark, Jamie. I think we both remember that 3-home run game by Carlos Lee. Swing and a miss, 0-2. Got to somehow fool this guy. He wasn't fooled at all in his first 2 at-bats.
No, he wasn't.
Curveball fouled at the plate. That last 3-home run game for the Astros against the Phillies, Carlos Lee hit those 3. Brett Myers gave up 2. Ryan Matson gave up 1. El Caballo could hit. Wasn't necessarily a home run hitter, but he could hit. He had his share of them, though. Check swing. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Carter.
What do we got?
Swing and a miss. He got him, threw him something soft, finally was able to get him out. That was a changeup. Second strikeout for Sean O'Sullivan. Now we flash back to 2007. Carlos Lee's 3-home run night. That was number 1. Number 2 against Myers to left field. Number 3 against Matson to straightaway center field.
Well, the first 2 home runs, the pitch locations are pretty much the same. All 3 on fastballs.
Here's Mark Krause. He walked his last time up, homered his first time. First pitch is inside. 1 ball, no strikes. Whether this is a one-and-done start for O'Sullivan still remains to be seen. The Phillies did not commit to anything past tonight's outing. Sounds strange. after the first month of the season, I don't think I thought I would ever say this, but I really enjoyed watching Roberto Hernandez pitch, particularly the last month of the season.
Yeah, he really threw the ball well. He kind of came into his own. I think he started to realize, hey, I have real good stuff. I just got to figure out how to get on top of that sinker. And when he realized that, he became a very effective pitcher against some really good hitting ball clubs.
And the word energy, we've talked about that a lot this year. You know, whether it be a lack of or the Phillies in search of it. As he was pitching better, he had a little bit more energy to him. You know, he was moving out on the mound. He was animated.
That goes back to exactly what Benny Looper was talking about. That would be a great example. Confidence he started to exude with that, and it created more energy for him. It created more energy for his teammates, and they see that and they play off of that.
Yeah, he by no means was a Cy Young Award winner. There's no doubt about that. But the last month he had performed very well, and he'll be in the Dodgers rotation as of tomorrow against the Brewers.
Well, and if you think about it too, his games became far more crisp. You know, just everything about the game had a little more bounce to it from the Phillies perspective, or the Phillies side of things, which to me that's what you're looking for.
Castro leads off first. He doesn't go. Pitches roll back to the mound. O'Sullivan has it. There's 1 and 2. 1-6-3 double play. Side is retired here in the 5th inning. So O'Sullivan allows a hit. No base runners left on for the Astros. Middle of the 5th when we come back. News on all your Philly teams right from your smartphone. Plus, all your Philly sports news and scores when you're on the go. Download the free CSN Philly Sports app today. Look at all that stuff going on in the truck. If you had that app, that Philly Sports app, you might have known when Isaac Benich and his wife had their baby and Isaac delivered the baby. He may have sent that out on the app. It was Isaac who was the farthest away, working the controls. And Jeff Steinauer was nearest in that shot. We never show the folks in the production cavity enough. They do unbelievable work, and it just as everybody does as part of our staff here. Colin McHugh finishing up his warm-up tosses. You feel better now that you saw Matt?
Yeah, my buddy, he is here. There's a sighting. My Canadian friend.
There's Sean O'Sullivan, who got through the 5th inning, and it looks like that might be it for him. Mario Hollins is starting to throw in the pen. It's going to be Sizemore, Ruiz, and Ashe. It's Colin McHugh. Sizemore singled past Dominguez in the shift his last time up. No balls and 1 strike. Mario. To the right side, Altuve. 8 in a row now retired by McHugh. Sullivan pitched pretty well in spring training. We weren't surprised when he was called up earlier this year. Has big league experience. That always helps. Carlos singled home the only run for the Phils his last time up, and he takes a strike. It's 0-1. Play off to the right into the Hall of Fame club. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Carlos got a chance to take yesterday off after catching 15 innings in game 1. He is good. And I know he has a 5-1 lead, but even beyond that, we saw him one time when he was with the Mets. He threw 3 innings. He allowed 3 hits.
Oh, he's very sharp. He's staying very aggressive with all of his pitches. And, I mean, he's got command of the game right now. I mean, he's getting ahead, forcing the Phillies to swing the bat. But it's almost like right now he's pitching. He's 1 step ahead of the Phillies hitters.
I think that's got to be a great feeling when you're a pitcher, when all that game planning works. Sometimes you can plan as much as you want, it doesn't work when you come out there, but when it does,
it is a great feeling, Tom. Believe me, it's when you have that work, those pitches working, and you have that rapport with your catcher. I'll tell you when it's really fun is when you're thinking of a pitch. You get the ball back and you're thinking of a pitch, and the catcher puts it down. That's when the tempo of the game, the flow of the game, you know you're working together with your catcher. There's not a better feeling when you're out on the mound versus that time when you've got a pitch in your head and he puts everything but that pitch down. Now it's like a boxing match.
Right.
And all of a sudden you lose that pace or that tempo of the game that you're looking for.
The ball's at 2 strikes to Ashe. Breaking ball outside. It's 1-2. On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, the Pirates are shutting out the Marlins 3-0. Jordy Mercer had a terrible first month of the season. He's become one of the better hitting shortstops in the National League since probably the middle of May. To help the Pirates to that lead. It's now time for you to tweet your photo using hashtag #PhillyFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game broadcast. Brought to you by AT&T. In the dirt, 3-2. Well, Sullivan is on deck. Fly ball, shallow right field over toward the line. And Krause has room, puts it away. Phillies go down in order for the third consecutive inning. 10 in a row retired by Colin McHugh. We've played 5 here in South Philadelphia. The quick-footed center fielder who's been reaching base with consistency since the beginning of July. Ben Revere raised his batting average above 300 by the beginning of August, and his on-base percentage for the month of July finished at a solid .379. His fast feet have taken him to the 30-plus stolen base plateau for the 3rd time in his career. They've also guided him to the deepest part of the outfield, stealing runs away. And his efforts are brought to you by Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Well, it has been a very good month for Ben Revere. Tonight, the Phillies trail it 5-1 as we go to the top of the 6th inning. Ben is hitless in his first 2 at-bats, but he's due to bat second in the bottom of the 6th inning. Jonathan Singleton will lead things off against Sean O'Sullivan. Singleton is 0 for 2. He is struck out. He's also grounded out. Swing and a miss way out front. It's 0-1. Last time he pitched, O'Sullivan went 5 2/3. He allowed 8 hits and 4 runs. Phillies lost that one 5-1 to the Atlanta Braves. Outside, 1-2. That one is walloped foul down the right field line. Fortunately, everybody's okay. That ball went into the seats hot. Good pitch. Singleton is struck out. 3 strikeouts for O'Sullivan. And Matt Dominguez will be the batter. It's time for the Major League Notebook. Murph.
All right, thanks, Tom. Brought to you by Gwynedd Mercy University. In the first place, Milwaukee Brewers are looking forward to that first place L.A. Dodger team come to town. But before that, they had to play the Giants today. And in that game, Willie Peralta became Major League Baseball's first 14-game winner for the Brewers. The 25-year-old had a career-high 9 strikeouts in that game and has been very, very good for Milwaukee all season long. As Grady Sizemore glides back to the track and is going to make that catch at the at the track.
You said that with such confidence that he was going to make that catch.
Well, I had a pretty good view from where I am here in Ashburn Alley, so I was pretty sure that was staying in the park. And how about Javier Baez, guy? Who is that? That is the Chicago Cubs' newest call-up. He's one of their top prospects. In his first 3 games, about 3 home runs. He's the first major leaguer to do that since 1954. He hit 2 today. He also hit a game winner in his very first game 2 days ago in the 12th inning. So the Cubs fans are excited that he is up and playing in Chicago, and certainly excited with the production that he's given them so far.
Yeah, that home run he hit in his first game to help the Cubs beat the Rockies. Opposite way. I mean, he takes some big swings. I know they were talking about comparisons to, Gary Sheffield, and there was a couple others they were talking about, but he takes a big swing.
Well, when he connects, it certainly provides some results. The 2 home runs today, had 4 RBIs in today's win for the Cubs as well.
1 ball and 1 strike to Marwin Gonzalez. By the way, Murph, there was somebody that was trying to take a photo of you while you were doing that report. They took a photo of your back. I was going to try to tell you to turn around.
Actually, that's my best side, Tom, so we'll stick with that.
1-1 to Marwin Gonzalez.
Well, that's a heck of a comparison to Gary Sheffield.
Yeah, and they were talking more about his swing, how hard he swings, and he does swing hard. I wonder when the Cubs are going to bring up Chris Bryant. I mean, he's hitting all kinds of home runs down in the minor leagues.
From the sounds of it, they have really scouted well, developed well, and within the next few years, you see, again, in their words or their thoughts, a lot of their prospects in the major leagues. Interesting to see how that pans out.
And how they sort of fill in around it. The complementary players, if they bring in any veterans with free agency. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Marwin Gonzalez. Try to get him to go after another changeup. He didn't bite this time. It's 3-2. Swing and a miss. 4 strikeouts. Astros go down in order here in the 6th inning. Together since 1970. That's pretty neat. Congratulations and welcome to the ballpark. By Toyota, the annual clearance event is going on now. Toyota, let's go places. By McDonald's, any size hot or iced coffee is just $1. McDonald's, I'm loving it. And by the Pennsylvania Lottery, benefits older Pennsylvanians every day. Bottom of the 6th inning, it's 5-1. Astros on top. They've got 2 home runs, 2 2-run home runs by Chris Carter. Big reason why they have the lead. Folks get a chance to enjoy tonight's ball game. Reed Brignac will pinch hit for the Phils. Jamie, how about 35 pitches in the first inning for O'Sullivan? I know you chart these pitches and you probably have this. 57 after the first.
15 out of 25 first pitch strikes, 8 ground balls, 4 fly balls, 4 strikeouts. Unfortunately, some of the fly balls he gave up carried out of the ballpark.
Brignac takes a strike. It's 0-2. Yeah, the runs tonight all on homers. 2 by Chris Carter and the other one by Mark Krause. That guy may not be a gold glover out in the outfield, but boy, he can pop the ball
and swing the pole.
Whew. One ball, 2 strikes to Brignac. Swing and a miss. And a strikeout number 6 for Colin McHugh. Man's got a wicked breaking ball.
Real good breaking ball. I found out also that they were averaging 1.3 runs a game for him in his last 7 starts, so that would explain the 4-9 record and the pretty good ERA. I was also told that in spring training he was a sinker slider pitcher, and they converted him into a 4-seam fastball curveball guy, and all of a sudden his confidence went through the roof.
Yeah, you have the charts more than I do, but he's thrown the curveball more than the slider tonight.
Yes, he has. And he's been very effective with it.
Yeah, I didn't expect that just from the numbers that we've received. Now, that last pitch was at 87. That was a slider. This one here that he just threw was a curveball at 74.
Now, it's really interesting to see him go from that sinker slider guy to the 4-seam curveball guy. And that makes total sense. That curveball comes out of that 4-seam slot.
But is that a drastic change then?
In thinking it is. I mean, in your thought process, yeah.
Throws a breaking ball in the dirt. Castro has it go away.
And the other part of that is the execution of that. When you think about a sinker and a 4-seam fastball. 4-seam fastball, you're throwing to a location. The sinker, you're throwing to a location and then counting on that sink to work. And then the curveball, that's a release point pitch. And if you're not right on with that curveball with your release point, you're either up or you're in the dirt.
One ball, 2 strikes to Revere. Down the left field line. Carter will watch it go out of play.
I mean, here's one of the things that we've talked a little bit about this, but I think this is what's making Ben such a good hitter right now. He's able to take that tough pitch with 2 strikes right there, a curveball, and foul it off. So he's seen a cutter first pitch for a strike, then a curveball that he fouled off, then a curveball for a ball, a cutter for a ball, and now a curveball for a strike. See what he gets here. Fastball.
Chopped over the mound. Yep. Altuve tries to barehanded and throw, but an infield hit for Revere. That's his 24th of the season. And a 1-out single.
So he just worked his way right into that pitch. And he may have tied him up a little bit. It didn't matter. He hit it into the ground, took a big hop for him, and he just legged it out.
Even if Altuve had fielded that cleanly, I don't know if he would have been able to make that throw over to first in time.
Yeah, I believe that would have been a base hit all the way.
Rollins is 0 for 2. He's grounded out and he's struck out.
Got pretty quick feet on that pickoff move too.
Yeah, the first one he kind of lofted over. I don't know if that was a setup, because then he came back and went over a lot faster the second time.
I think it's close to being a balk, to be honest with you.
There's a foul tip, and it's 0-2.
You're supposed to be covering ground with that lead foot when you're throwing to first base. I don't see that happen a whole lot. Don't see the ball called very much, do we?
Not with a right-hander. Most times you see it called, it's more with a left-hander than anything else. Hollins and DeFreitas are loosening at the pen. We're in the bottom of the 6th. Sullivan's night is done. He was pinch hit for by Reed Brignac. Breaking ball, 2-2. That one's pulled, caught by Singleton, double play. Rollins hit it hard, side is retired. No runs, 1 hit, and nobody left. On to the 7th inning and a 5-1 ball game. Time now for your local Honda dealers game summary. The Phillies gave up a 2-run home run and a solo shot in the first, and then Chris Carter hit his second home run in the third against Sean O'Sullivan, who was notified about noon today that he was going to have to leave Toledo and come to Philadelphia to start with the big club, with Roberto Hernandez being sent out to Los Angeles. So Carter has home runs number 23 and 24, and Colin McHugh has been in control for the Astros. He allowed the run of the second on the RBI by Ruiz, but that's been it. So now we go to the 7th. Mario Hollins will pick up. Hollins, 43rd game, 1-1, a 4.54 ERA. And he'll face Jake Marisnick and then McHugh. First pitch is over. It's 0-1. Astros were hoping to get back their top prospect and really a guy that's been one of their top players since he's been called up from the minor leagues, George Springer, by tonight. He had been rehabbing down in the minor leagues, but last night, after hitting a double in one of his at bats during his rehab assignment, as that's a swing and a miss that gets away from Ruiz. And Nick will be safe at first. A strikeout and a wild pitch. After getting a double in last night's ball game, he felt something in his quad, and they decided to pull him from the game, and they're just going to shut him down for a couple days. So Bo Porter thought he'd have him back here tonight, but probably won't have him back for another few days.
Oh, and that's why you send guys out on a rehab assignment. And you want to make sure that they're completely healthy before they come back, and if they are having any issues or any problems, you're not shuttling guys back and forth and kind of fooling around with what's going on. You got a heartbeat of a team going on, and when you're adding and subtracting guys, sometimes it's difficult. And to bring a guy in and have him re-injure himself and then send him right back out, you're shifting players around. You really are trying to keep everything as settled as you can with your 25-man roster.
Well, they also sent Dexter Fowler out to Oklahoma City tonight, and he's beginning a rehab assignment. He's missed 32 games. Ball's bunted foul awkwardly, and it's 0-2 to McHugh. And that one's butted toward third. Ashe has a play at second, and it's there in time to get Marisnik. 5-6 on the putout. These lucky fans are tonight's Citizens 7. They were to receive a prize pack courtesy of Citizens Bank. Good banking is simple, clear, and personal, and that's helping you bank better. Citizens Bank, good banking is good citizenship. Here's Altuve. He's 0 for 3. He's flied out, and he grounded out. Chopper to third. Ashe has 1 and 2. Second double play of the night turned by the Phils. Actually, the third double play of the night turned by the Phils. And it's time to stretch here in Philadelphia. We'll go to the bottom of the 7th. The Phillies down 5-1. Phillies just 1 run on 4 hits. They trail at 5-1 as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. RBI Baseball is back with all 30 MLB teams and 2014 players. Get the retro 2-button style baseball game you've been missing. Visit RBIGame.com for more details and download today on your console or mobile device. That little lady getting a chance to enjoy a night with Dad. She's mesmerized by the camera. Taking a stroll out along Ashburn Alley. Bottom of the 7th inning. It'll be Chase Utley, Ryan Howard, and Marlon Byrd. You kind of get the feeling by the way this game has been flowing that it's 10-0, but it's only 5-1. It's only a 4-run deficit.
Yeah, but it's been really tough for the Phillies to try to get something started here. That they have, since the 2nd inning, and they put 3 hits together to score that first run. They really haven't put anything together as far as back-to-back hits, or put any pressure on Colin McHugh.
Colin McHugh, who's been dazzling the Phils with his curveball here tonight. Chase Utley rips one into right field, a base hit. That's a good way to start the bottom of the 7th inning. Utley's aboard. It'll bring Howard to the plate.
I like how Chase is right on cue there.
Exactly. Get it started. Well, I mean, think about it. You were saying that they've had a tough time getting things started against McHugh. It's the first leadoff batter they've had aboard tonight. Here's Howard. He's 0 for 2.
And I think part of that he's been able to get his first pitch over, which a lot of the time tonight has been a really good breaking ball. And most times hitters are not looking for a breaking ball first pitch.
Well, he's at 84 pitches. Now, their bullpen pretty quiet right now, as you would imagine, because he has not shown really a chip in the armor.
He's had 4 3-ball counts all night.
1-0 pitch. Outside, 2-0.
I think that kind of gives you an idea of the kind of night he's having. He has no first pitch outs, but he's got a couple 2-pitch outs. And that base hit there by Chase is the first pitch base hit.
Ryan whacked that one off his foot. It's 2 balls and 1 strike. Here's to Budweiser. Here's to baseball. That's down to the Diamond Club here at Citizens Bank Park. It's a beautiful place. Guys getting a chance to enjoy a cold Budweiser. In Matt's case, a cold Budweiser of 17. 2-1 pitch. Oh, man. That's a really tough 2-1 pitch.
But he's been there with it all night long.
He has.
And as a pitcher, you work to get those pitches. You want to get those pitches. And when you start getting those pitches, now it forces the hitter to expand the zone. And when you get a hitter starting to expand the zone, now all of a sudden that plate looks bigger to you, and he realizes he has to cover both sides of the plate. And if you have command on both sides of the plate, it really makes it each at bat difficult for the hitters.
Now ball again, foul. He tried to come in on Howard, didn't come all the way in, and Ryan just pulled it foul. So it remains 2-2. Tony Sippy started throwing the bullpen for the Astros, the left-hander. struck out for the second time, a foul tip. Yeah, there's one out. 7 strikeouts for Colin McHugh.
The cutter that almost looks like it backed up a little bit, but it served its purpose. It strikes Ryan Howard out.
Yeah, and he had a swing at it too because it was a strike. Marlon Byrd is 1 for 2. Singled and scored his first time up. That's the only run for the Phillies. That was back in the second. Castro's done a good job tonight too. Castro, who leads the National League in pass balls with 8. He's also allowed 20 wild pitches this year. He's handled Colin McHugh exceptionally well. He's really relied on that breaking pitch tonight. And just enough movement to get the ball off the meat of the bat.
Well, he's located the ball pretty well tonight. Even if he hasn't, like with Ryan Howard, you mentioned that he got that cutter in, but he didn't get it in quite far enough, and he pulled it foul. But it was in enough where Ryan had to pull it foul. Or if he leaves that ball another ball or two on the plate, Ryan may be able to drive that ball. Again, the hitter dictates the kind of stuff you have. And I think he's showing the Phillies hitters, or proving to the Phillies hitters, hey, I've got pretty good stuff, especially with this curveball.
Chad Qualls, number 50, just getting some rosin behind Tony Sipp. We haven't seen Chad. He warmed up a ton the other night in that 15-inning game. It didn't come in. 2 balls, 1 strike. Outside, 3-1. I would think as a hitter, even though this is a good hitter's count, the way he's been able to cut the ball tonight and move it, he still has the advantage, at least up until this point.
Well, he's looking like he's lost his edge a little bit. His last 2 hitters, Ryan Howard took him, what was it, 8-pitch at bat. It just doesn't look as all of a sudden quite as sharp. And he's trying to be very meticulous here, very careful. He doesn't want to make a mistake here to the middle part of the order after giving up a leadoff hit to chase up.
He leads off first. He doesn't go. Pitch is fouled away.
Like right there, that ball was supposed to be away, and it backed up, and it ended up being in. It served its purpose, but it wasn't the location that his catcher was looking for.
6 full counts for McHugh. Bird is down looking. Strikeout number 8. Well, that ball looked like it was on the plate, but I have to say, early on in the ball game, Sean O'Sullivan, he was looking for those kind of pitches, and he wasn't getting them. Those pitches in the first inning were low, then that's low. I mean, looking at the side shot,
it might have been a tad down, but I don't know from that side angle right there.
It's at the knees.
As that ball crosses Marlin's knees, especially his front knee, it's right at the knees. Again, that's what you call a pitcher's pitch, and he got the call.
Well, 2 away. Sizemore is up. He's 1 for 2. And he breaks his bat, loops it out toward left center field. Gonzalez tracks it down. And that'll do it for the Phils here in the 7th. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man left. We've played 7. We'll go to the 8th inning. It's still Astros 5, Phillies 1. Baseball is brought to you by Nissan. Get to your local Nissan store for the ride of your life and save big today. By AT&T, mobilizing your world. And by the Quality Plus Sports Stores. Go further. We'll go to the top of the 8th inning. It's 5-1 Astros on top. They scored 3 runs in the first, 2 in the third. That's been it. Sean O'Sullivan started for the Phils, went 6 innings, allowed 7 hits and 5 runs. All 5 runs coming on home runs. And now Mario Hollins will begin his 2nd inning of work. It's time now for the Jeep Stump the Fans Trivia Quiz answer. All right, Jamie, what pitcher holds the single season Astro record for strikeouts with 313?
James Rodney Richards.
J.R. Richard, back in 1979, he was a devastating pitcher whose career was basically cut short. But that is the correct answer.
I remember in my young years as a Cub walking into the Astrodome one day after Mario throws a fastball here and gets a ground ball, gets Castro to hit a ground ball for the first out of the 8th inning. But walking down onto the field in the Astrodome as a young Cub, and all of a sudden I hear this loud noise across the field, and it's James Rodney Richards throwing a bullpen. It just stopped you in your tracks.
Sarge used to talk about how enormous he looked on the mound. I mean, he was a big guy. I mean, from a distance, he was probably a big guy, but on the mound, he must have been humongous.
Well, that was at the part of his career where he was hurt and trying to come back. I don't know that I don't recall ever seeing him pitch live in a game. But remember seeing that, and I asked somebody, I said, who is that guy? And they said, oh, that's J.R. Richards.
Yeah, if it weren't for the stroke, which really cut his career short, he would have put together one amazing year or career from a strikeout standpoint. No balls and 1 strike to Chris Carter. 2 for 3. Check swing, 1-1. You can log back onto Phillies.com to find out if you're the winner of a Phillies prize pack. Thanks for playing Jeep Stump the Fans. 2-1. Josh Fields warming up in the pen. Base hit through the hole on the left side for Carter. He's 3 for 4. Well, it's now time for our AT&T fan photo of the game. This one comes from Ryan Gunning 1. Getting a chance to enjoy a night at the ballpark. Tweet your photo, or a day I should say. Tweet your photo to hashtag Philly Fan Photo for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game broadcast brought to you by AT&T. Folks are sitting out toward left field. Those young ladies may have themselves a fan photo that they could send in.
You're the man.
Krause takes up and in. It's 1 ball and no strikes. Was the Astrodome like the Kingdome as far as setup goes? Was it different in any way?
I felt like it was 2 times the size. The Astrodome was way down, set way down underground.
Right.
I was told it was built over a dump site.
Some people think that that's true just by the odor.
No, it was a, you know, and as you drove down the highway and all of a sudden you saw this big bubble, that was the Astrodome. It was a pretty phenomenal place. You think about the time, you know, there was the 70s. Was it built in the 60s or the 70s?
60s.
You know, it's something that you didn't see those types of facilities anywhere.
8th wonder of the world. Self-proclaimed.
And I want to say it was a couple stories down. Even when you know, the clubhouse, if I'm not mistaken, was on ground level, and you had to walk down a series of stairs to get down to the field level.
Well, now if you go by it, Reliant Stadium, which is the home of the Houston Texans, dwarfs the dome because it's set down, but just because things are, well, things are just bigger
in Texas.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Krause. It's that one to second base on 1 hop, might be 2. There's 1 and 2. Phillies with their 4th double play of the night. 4-6-3. No runs, 1 hit, nobody left. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th inning, still in search of a little more offense from the Phils. So we take a look at the Houston Astros, and all you got to do is look at the 3-hole. Left field, Chris Carter, 3 for 4, 2 home runs, 4 runs batted in. That has been the difference in the ball game. Colin McHugh, you see him in the 9-hole. He is done for the night. Josh Fields will take over. Robbie Grossman comes on to play right field. for the Astros. You see Fields' numbers. He's been in one other game in this series. 57 strikeouts at 41 2/3. There's Grossman. So Grossman will bat ninth. And Fields is the Astros' brand new cleanup hitter. I think Carlos Ruiz will lead it off. It'll be Ruiz, Cody Ashe, and then probably Dominic Brown as a pinch hitter. Carlos lifts it out toward left field. Carter on the run. He won't get it. It'll be a one hop off the wall. And Carlos will get to second base with a leadoff double. Double of the year for Carlos.
Again, Carlos gets a fastball down the middle, stays right through it, drives the ball, one hops it off the left field wall for a leadoff double for the bottom of the 8th for the Phillies.
That's a good sign that he's got a couple hits tonight. You know, he had been 0 for 6 of the series, had been struggling somewhat offensively. Got a couple hits here tonight. Cody Ashe is the batter. And Ashe lines one to right center field. That'll drop it for a base hit. Ruiz around third. He'll score. Ashe will stop at first. That's because Grossman has a very good arm. RBI single. It's a 5-2 ball game. Phillies are one base runner away from bringing the tying run to the plate.
Cody gets a changeup out over the plate, runs back to the middle of the plate. He stays with it and really doesn't try to do a whole lot with it, just tries to stay on it and hits it well to right center field to bring in Carlos Ruiz for the second run of the game.
All right, so the Astros have a decision here. You got Brown coming up. They have sipped the left-hander in the bullpen, but it looks like they're going to hold off on going to him. Brown is not the tying run. Well, maybe they're going to buy some time now to make sure Sip is ready. I would imagine he'd go to Sip here. I know that Darren Downs has pitched the first couple days of the series. He's the other lefty. Well, you got all these lefties coming up. If you're not going to use Sip now, not sure when you'll use him.
Yeah, I don't know if they got him up for this type of situation right here to face Brown. Obviously not. They might really have him coming up to for the top of the order, or maybe to turn Jimmy Rollins around.
Dominic takes a strike. It's 0-1. Overall 229, 7 homers, 50 runs batted in. Fields against Brown with Revere on deck. Phillies down 5-2. Not Colin McHugh.
It almost looked like he wanted to call that a strike.
Good hitters count now. 3 balls and 1 strike. Just missed that one. Hopefully it slices out of play. Castro will give it a look, and it is into the Astros dugout. 3 balls, 2 strikes, nobody out. And took a visit out to the upper deck, and then came back down. Brown is down, looking on strikes. It's at the knees. It's just been a little inconsistent. But too close to take with 2 strikes.
I agree, Tom. But he called that one earlier in the same at bat, a ball.
Yeah.
That's why I said it looked like he hesitated on that one call. It's usually vice versa. They'll call strike 2, but they won't call strike 3.
Late in games, things change for everybody. Ben Revere's the hitter. He's 1 for 3. Ball, no strikes to Revere.
Think back over this series, a lot of the Astro pitchers have good curveballs. I've noticed that more so than any other pitching staff we've seen this year.
Up the first base line, slowly hit, indecisiveness. Revere is safe at first. An infield hit, it brings the tying run to the plate. The second infield hit of the night for Ben Revere. And Bo Porter's coming out.
Not sure what Singleton was doing there.
He just didn't make the right decision. I think he thought that
that's his play all the way.
Absolutely.
He saw the pitcher coming, but still, it's his play all the way. Oh, Ben's lucky he didn't roll an ankle right there.
He's been bothered by that sore foot, his lead foot. This one is not his lead foot. Well, he's going to be limping every which way. Pitching change here in Philadelphia. The Phillies will bring the tying run to the plate. The lefty Tony Sipp is coming in for the Astros. Worse than it was for the Phils, if not for this play.
Yeah, Ben Revere goes a long way as this ball's tailing away from him and makes a great diving catch in the first inning to
really helped Sean O'Sullivan. That was what, the second out of the first inning, the first out of the first inning. So again, Ben's not only doing it with the bat, but he's doing it with his glove as well. And that is our Hyundai defensive play of the game.
Well, Ben has 2 infield hits here tonight, and he just legged one out. A little soft chopper up the first base line, a little indecisiveness on the part of Jonathan Singleton over at first. So now Tony Sipp into the game. 38th game, second time he's pitched in this series. He's on to face Jimmy Rollins. Rollins represents the tying run here in the 8th inning.
And we talked in the open about how many different ways Ben Revere's gotten a hit. There's a new way right there.
Twice.
Top it to the first baseman, have him hesitate, beat everybody to the bag.
Papelbon is starting to stretch in the bullpen for the Phillies, just in case. Fastball in there for strike, 0-1. There's Bastardo throwing. Papelbon was just behind him, stretching out. I believe he's on the other end of the bullpen now, doing the same thing. There he is. Rollins lifts it out toward left center field. That'll drop for a base hit. Ashe's around third. He'll be held there. He froze for a moment. And the bases are loaded with 1 out. Chris Carter has not shown aggressiveness at all in the outfield with his throws or even going after certain baseballs. I thought Pete Buchanan was going to send him there, but I guess with 1 out, he decided to hold it up.
Jimmy hits a change up to left field. Carter, I think, just gave in to saying, all right, I'll give you the run. I'm just going to keep Ben Revere at second base.
I agree. Keep the double play in order, which the double play is in order. In fact, there's a force at any base now. Utley is 1 for 3. It is 5th grand slam on the last homestand. I should say the last road trip. Boy, there's a huge gap in right center field for Utley if he can pull something. 1 ball, no strikes.
I got to believe it's a full-time job for 1 or 2 people to figure out all of these shifts, because this is to me, it's an overrated shift. What we're seeing right here, the space that they're giving Chase Utley here in right center field. I mean, that's huge. If he, in any way, shape, or form, can get the ball into that right center field gap, all 3 runs are going to score.
Instead it goes to left field. It's not that deep. Ashe will tag. Carter's under it. Makes the one-headed catch. No throw. Well, there was a throw. It's kind of all over the place. But 2 outs. And it's going to be left to Ryan Howard. Time in the series that's happened to Chase. So now Ryan Howard, the Phillies all-time leader in grand slams. Phillies will take a base hit here. They do the same shift for Howard that they did for Utley. They're a little deeper. Actually, the center fielder Marisnik is a lot deeper, and now Altuve is way back in right. And Brent Strom is going to come out to the mound. I think Strom's just making sure that they're on the same page and how they're going to pitch him. We kind of saw this earlier in the series.
Just said slider way off the plate. So I'm thinking they're trying to get ahead of him and then throwing sliders away. And he said something right there about a fastball.
Coming up after the ballgame, Marlon Anderson is hanging out, getting ready for Phillies postgame live, presented by Cure Auto Insurance. It'll come up right after this ballgame to talk about Game 3 as the Phillies looking for the series sweep against the Astros. There's Chad Qualls, the closer for Houston, the former Philly.
Well, with John Singleton not holding Jimmy Rollins on and playing at the edge of the grass, really gives Jimmy a chance to get a big secondary lead. And if Ryan puts his ball in play somewhere where he gets a base hit, based upon where that hit goes, Jimmy may have a good chance of scoring as well.
Rollins is telling Ben Revere to get a bigger lead off second because nobody's even keeping him close. Here's the 0-1 pitch coming to Howard. Check swing. There's that slider they were talking about. Mark Carlson says no swing. Jamie was talking about where Singleton is set up right now. He's gotten 2 fastballs in the inner half of the plate. You can see, by the way, he walked off the box there. A little frustrated that he missed that one. I know he was frustrated he missed the first one, too.
Yeah, he's had 2 pitches to hit in this at bat. Not sure that he'll get another strike here. I would think he wouldn't get another strike. And if it is, it might be something up at the top of the strike zone. But I would doubt it.
One ball, 2 strikes. Bases are loaded. And the pitch to Howard. He stays alive. Ashley's over at third. Revere's at second. Rollins at first. It's lefty on lefty. Breaking ball in the dirt. Backhanded by Castro. Good hold. Everybody will be off and running. They'll be spinning the carousel.
Good at bat so far here by Ryan to hold up in those sliders.
Great to see him finish it off in a big way. Howard contributed last night. He contributed the night before. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Runners go. Fouls it back. Challenged him with a fastball. Was up and in a little bit. Well, Porter decided to bring in the lefty Sip to face Rollins, who singled, then Utley, who fly to left, and now Howard. He's got Qualls for Bird, who's on deck. The runners will go. The 3-2 pitch. In the air to left center field. That's well hit. Marisnik going back toward the wall. It is gone! Grand slam! Ryan Howard! Number 13 for his career. And he's just given the Phillies a 6-5 lead. The sun is starting to shine a little brighter on Ryan Howard. What a series he's had against these Astros. 8 RBIs. What a turn of events. It's a 5-run 8th inning, and the Phillies have the lead. And Bo Porter's going out to get a new pitcher. You don't think he can throw his chest out a little bit, do you?
Huh. Gonna put a little bounce in his step.
Sure will. 6-5 Phillies. Chad Qualls is coming in. Barb LaPierre of Levittown, you've just won $100 thanks to that grand slam. Want to see a sweet swing. 3-2 pitch. He went down and got it, and he knew it. Tony Sip wasn't sure. He was hoping it wasn't out. Just sounded good off the bat. The Phillies have the lead here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Ryan Howard has helped along a 5-run 8th inning for the Phils. Been a while since we had some goosebumps. It's 5-1. I may not get a chance to work against the Astros here tonight. As the innings started to unfold, that's when he started to stretch out a little bit more. And now he's starting to heat up because the Phillies have a 1-run lead. Chad Qualls is the new pitcher. And Marlon Byrd takes high. It's 1-0. Qualls spent time here in Philadelphia. It wasn't a good time. 1-3 this year for the Astros, a 3.26 ERA. Chopper to short. Gonzalez across the diamond. The Phillies, though, have the lead. A 5-run inning sets up a Jonathan Papelbon entrance into the ballpark. All thanks to Ryan Howard. 6-5 Phils as we go to the ninth. A big piece of 2 strikeouts tonight, but man, did he come through. Jamie now with 4 RBIs tonight. He's got 71 on the year. Look how sweet this swing was.
Yeah, and I think it looked like he was looking for the fastball. He got it, and he didn't miss it. As we said, if you get the ball up in the air tonight with anything on it, it's got a really good chance of carrying out of the ballpark. Not sure if that ball normally would have gotten out of the ballpark, but Ryan hit that well enough and sent it a couple rows back. And then just left of center field. It's actually his hot spot right now for home runs.
By the way, too, watching that swing, just how short he was to that fastball. It wasn't a long swing at all. It was short, boom, right to it.
Well, that bat was created by him laying off those sliders that they were trying to get him to chase.
Well, Jonathan Papelbon will try to secure a 1-run lead. Jonathan Singleton takes a strike. It's 0-1. A couple things to point out about that inning. Obviously, the Ruiz double to start it, the Ashe single, but Revere's infield hit, huge, to help that inning along. 0-2 to Singleton. Then with 2 hits tonight, also that diving catch in the first inning. Ruiz with 2 hits tonight, including the double to start the inning. And then the scoring was capped off by Ryan Howard. 0-2. Foul ball down the left field line. How about the bullpen in this series? 12 2/3. Let's not forget about Mario Hollins, what he did tonight. 2 scoreless innings in relief of Sean O'Sullivan, who went 6. And now the 0-2 pitch coming to Singleton. A little high, 1-2.
You know, and how many times have we seen a reliever come into a game 4, 5, 6 runs down and just kind of go out there and kind of go through the motions? And those 2 innings by Mario were really, really important not to give up any runs.
And 2 important innings for him, too, to continue to build that confidence back. And Ruiz hangs on. It's a strikeout for Papelbon. He has struck out 3 times in tonight's ball game. 1 out here in the 9th. Papelbon trying to move up the list and then tie Tug McGraw on the all-time saves list. If he sticks around, he's going to pass Jose Mesa next year. Here's Dominguez. Fastball in there. It's 0-1. Phillies, when trailing after 7 innings, 2-52 this year. This would be a sweet one to put number 3 up. 0-2. Nobody can sugarcoat the struggles Ryan's had this year, but he's been working hard to try to get out of it. 8 RBIs in this series. That's a huge first step. The 0-2 pitch. Outside, 1-2. A crowd of 26,000. Well, they're into it right now. They're into every pitch. Down the left field line. Ashe on the run into foul territory. Just won't be able to get there. Phillies were down by 5 in Arizona on the 26th of April. And they won that one. Down by 4 here tonight. They've scored 5 in the 8th, and they lead it by 1 here in the 9th. Well, he's pumping fastballs right now at these Astros hitters.
And pretty good locations as well.
Popped him up. Howard, first base side. Will it stay in? It will. Phillies are 1 out away from sweeping out the Astros.
The ball's drifting over into foul territory, actually almost out of play. Give Ryan a lot of credit for staying with that ball.
Every time the Phillies pitchers retire, the opposition 1-2-3. Comcast will make a contribution to Phillies charities. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Marwin Gonzalez with 2 outs. 0-1. Back toward the middle. Rollins to his left. He's got it from behind the bag. The ball game is over. A 1-2-3 ninth inning. Jonathan Papelbon ties Tug McGraw on the all-time saves list as the Phillies come from behind to defeat the Astros 6-5 behind Ryan Howard's grand slam that capped off a 5-run 8th inning. And who else would be our Chevrolet player of the game than the big piece? His 13th career grand slam. The Phillies have swept a team in a 3-game series.